You know, I went through some situations in life. In fact, I had two vehicles repossessed. I had a drop top Camaro on the 22-inch IROX. That thing was clean. Had the custom interior in there I did myself. My wife had a brand new car until it all fell apart. I thought that I could afford these vehicles. Then I came to the realization that affordability isn't what I think it is. Affordability to me is defined as you being able to sustain the cost of the car, the cost of whatever it is, over the life of the loan or a shorter period. And then I learned some more things. I learned that most of these dealers, they're not selling us cars. They're selling us loans under the guise of cars. The question I pose today is this: are the car manufacturers, are they screwing with us?
Why are you trying to get rid of it?
I just can't afford the payments from
How much are the payments?
$960 a month.
$960.
My dad just bought this truck with 14 miles and it's already overheating.
Imagine losing $30,000 in just 2 years. The MSRP on this back in 2023 was $50,000, almost $51,000. Today, currently, this thing is worth $21,000.
I have a saying: you live, you learn, and you grow. Ain't no way I'm paying $50,000 for a car, and then 2 years later that car is worth $21,000. I'm done playing them games. If I'm going in buying a car, I'm looking at the depreciation schedule. I'm looking at what is the expected depreciation, because a lot of times what you don't know is if you buy right, buy the vehicle right in the first place. Same thing with anything. With houses, you make your money on the buy. These dealerships are willing to negotiate if you come in there knowing what you're talking about, or you do it online. You got AI to help you and stuff like that. Don't just take the first deal that comes up because you feel like you got to have this vehicle right here. This is the one. Unless it is the one. This is the exact spec and everything. You can still negotiate. Don't let these people bust your head. So when it comes to the depreciation schedule, you can look these up and you can see what's the estimated depreciation schedule on a vehicle, and you can cover those costs. So let's say it's supposed to depreciate, let's say $5,000 in that time period of a year. Well, you know that you need to negotiate somewhere close to that depreciation. So the vehicle is $25,000 and it's going to depreciate $5,000, just to keep the math simple. You want to get that vehicle close to what? $20,000. That way, when you're making your payments and stuff, it's going less and less and less and less. So if you do decide to sell it, you're walking out of it not owing a lot of money, not being upside down, not having all this negative equity, and especially not buying a car that you pay $50,000 for and 2 years later it's worth $21,000. People will tell you that depreciation is bad. Depreciation is your friend. Because of depreciation, we can get great deals on great vehicles. The newer vehicles, man, these vehicles don't be reliable. You don't be knowing about them. Unless you just got the money, stick to used cars and stick to buying a car that has a track record that you can research stuff in this vehicle, the cost of maintenance, what it's going to take to fix it up, and all these different things. Keep the money in your pocket. Stop letting these folks rob you, making themselves richer and richer while you out here looking like Boo Boo the Fool.
$805 a month for car insurance. The car that we were insuring was a 2022 Corolla.
The average new vehicle price just hit an all-time high of over $50,000. We've seen a 3.6% year-over-year increase in vehicle prices since the pandemic when automakers took advantage of low supply. This puts the average monthly payment at $748, but according to Edmunds, 19.3% of new car buyers are now committing to monthly payments of $1,000 or more. That's almost 1 in 5 buyers.
What's your car payment and what do you drive?
Just short of $2,700 a month. But every morning I have to decide if I'm going to drive the Tahoe Premier or the M4 Competition X Drive.
What's your...
He's saying like, hey, I get to decide between these two vehicles. Hey, if that's what he wants, that's what he wants. But at the end of the day, it's going to probably come back and bite him in the butt. And she mentioned that people are paying upwards of $1,000. Get in the comment section and tell me, are y'all paying that? I ain't never had no car that was $1,000 car payment. My car payments are normally around $400, $450. I think the highest one is $450. Other than that, $450 is still too high to me too. But hey, and I was paying for something for my drop top Camaro, and I think it had like 50,000 or 50 or 60,000 miles on it at the time I bought it. This was some years back before things went crazy, but it was still a good deal.
car payment and what do you drive?
$1,342 and I drive a Silverado 3500 HD.
What's your car payment and what do you drive?
$700 a month. I drive a Chevy Silverado half-ton 2022 RST with a 3-liter diesel.
Not only are people paying more, they're opting to extend their loan terms. Edmunds analyst found that in the first half of 2025, more buyers extended their loans to 84 months, with some borrowers even opting for 92 months. This set a new record. 22.4% of all cars being purchased are now financed over 84 months. When we look at Edmunds' data, what it really comes down to is this. Cars are overpriced and people can't afford them. Bigger loans are becoming normal, buyers aren't putting as much down, and they're stretching out the repayment period. And when people can't keep up with these payments, they're looking for a way out. Google Trends shows that the search term "give car back" just hit its highest point in over 20 years. According to Fitch Ratings, 6.65% of subprime borrowers are now at least 60 days behind on their car payments, the highest level since they started tracking this data in the early 90s.
Hey, these folks are looking up and say, how can I get this car back? It don't work that way. You can give it back, but you're going to take a big hit on your credit. Let's buy right. You win on the buy. And therefore, when you go to sell, you reduce your risk because you reduce your risk in the beginning. They said these folks are looking up, give back, and it's breaking records. I'm just saying. Hey, it's tough out here. So that means that we need to make better decisions. We just can't sit here and blame them. They're going to do what they do. But at the end of the day, nobody is making you go in there and sign that contract. Nobody's making you go in there and sign that contract. Maybe we need to look at ourselves and humble ourselves and say, I don't need this car right now. Let me just get this. And then later on, we'll get this one right here.
Americans now owe $1.66 trillion in auto loans, and the situation has gotten so bad that two subprime lenders, Tricolor and Prima Lend, filed for bankruptcy this fall.
Toyota has the most repossessions in the country. I'm here at the auction in Toyota's repo lane, right? 2024 Camry, 30,000 miles. 2024 Corolla, 12,000 miles. They barely had this. They barely drove this. Look at all the repossessions. They're still covered under factory warranty. You think Toyota cares that your kids got sick or you got fired or you broke your leg and you're having some hard times? They don't care. They're a machine. They're going to come pick your cars up. They do not give a f.
It's crazy to think that we're now financing vehicles for the same price that a starter home cost in the 80s and 90s. I mean, just look at this historical data. A house cost $1,100 in Arkansas in 1940. That's
interesting to me because I live in Arkansas. $1,100. And this is what we're paying for cars today, and the money does not equal what they are charging. You know, we call that greed. I don't know about you, but I believe the Bible, and the Bible says the love of money, not money itself. The Bible didn't say you couldn't make your money. When the Bible talks about making your money, it talks about make your money righteously, not taking advantage of people, doing the right thing. But this right here, what they're doing, that's just straight up greed, and it is from the love of money. The love of money is the root of all evil, not money itself. Stop misquoting it.
One car payment today, but it bought 84 houses back then.
How much did you pay for your first house?
$18,000 with 17 acres.
What year?
1989. When I was a kid, cars were thousands of dollars. A brand new car, like, I don't know, $5,000. I remember seeing ads. Houses were probably, what, $10,000, $20,000 when I was a kid.
Not only are we paying a record amount for cars, it comes at a time when car quality is at its worst. The interiors are made of cheap plastic. There's no attention to detail. The infotainment systems freeze, and panel gaps look like they were measured by hand. In fact, according to a J.D. Power study, vehicle problems after 3 years of ownership has reached the highest level since 2009.
About the 2024 Kia Telluride. I've had the car maybe 2 months. Month 1, the passenger door handle falls off. Week later, I'm driving and suddenly my entire dash lights up. My speedometer stops working. So no matter how fast I'm going, it says 0. The lights on my shift don't work, so I don't know if I'm in park or in drive. It also doesn't change on the dash. Lose power steering, so the car becomes very heavy. Then it'll fix itself, sometimes after 5 minutes, sometimes after 2 hours.
In 2024, there were over 27.7 million vehicle recalls issued. For 2025, Ford is currently leading. They've had 103 recalls from January to October alone. That's over 9 million vehicles affected from just one automaker. The biggest reason cars are having all...
Let me go back, because I didn't see. Did y'all see? Where's Mercedes-Benz in that list? People talk about Mercedes-Benz are so expensive to maintain, all these different things, these luxury vehicles. Look what Mercedes-Benz is. Mercedes-Benz is way down here. But Ford is at the top in regards to recalls in 2025. Stellantis, I love y'all Dodge products. Toyota, Honda, BMW, and it's kind of like always at the top, ain't it? Kia, then you got your Jag, Land Rover, Mitsubishi, Mazda, Honda. Honda has had more recalls recently than Mercedes-Benz. I drive a 2008 Mercedes-Benz. I got a few other cars, but my main car that I drive is a 2008 Mercedes-Benz. I think that's the W221. Bulletproof engine and basically a bulletproof transmission. It has approximately 161,000 miles, and I would ride that thing across the country. Why? Because it was maintained before me, and I maintain it now. They built cars. The car is older, so you already know what the car is going to do. Time has proven over and over and over again that, hey, this motor, I think is the M173, I think, and that the V8 they put in all these cars, it is basically bulletproof. Of course, you're going to have your issues with anything. But overall, it is a reliable vehicle. It is a nice vehicle. I didn't pay a lot of money for it. It's paid off. And when you see it, people see it, they think you pay a lot of money for it because it still looks good today. Just because something is so-called luxury, it doesn't mean that it has a whole bunch of problems or it's expensive to maintain. It can be, but with anything, do you just blindly give your money or do you price shop? If I'm going to get my car fixed, am I just going to blindly take it to the dealership, or am I going to price shop around to see who can fix it for a more reasonable price, or I fix it myself if I can do it? For example, I change the brakes myself. Sometimes I may have somebody do it, and sometimes I may do it myself depending on my schedule.
affected from just one automaker. The biggest reason cars are having all of these recalls, the electronics system. The majority of hardware manufacturers, including vehicle manufacturers, have transitioned into software companies. They're now developing what's known in the industry as software-defined vehicles. This is a fancy way of saying that modern cars are almost fully controlled by millions of lines of code running on tiny computers called electronic control units, or ECUs. Prior to 1978, cars had simple electrical systems, a battery, alternator, lights, basic ignition. But in 1978, the first tiny computer was introduced to a vehicle. Its job was to control the carburetor for better efficiency and lower emissions. In the 45 years since, we've gone from one of these tiny computers to modern vehicles having hundreds of them. But the tiny computer running the carburetor was a good thing. It increased efficiency. The 100 plus that we have today is a complexity nightmare being sold as innovation. Think of one of these ECUs or these tiny computers as an iPhone. Each of these tiny computers are running apps similar to your phone. There are millions of lines of code powering them. They also require miles of electrical wiring and need a way to communicate with each other via networks like CAN bus, Ethernet, and 5G. As someone who has worked with software-defined vehicles, I know how incredibly difficult it is to get these tiny computers to communicate with each other without encountering some type of error. Just imagine 100 iPhones all running 20 apps simultaneously. On top of running their own apps, they also need to communicate with each other, with a lot of them requiring input from each other to work properly. If one of these ECUs goes down, it can cause the entire system to fail. Now, I say all of that to say this. These tiny computers are running the radio, the air conditioning, keyless entry, and even the braking system. In 2024, BMW recalled 1.5 million cars due to faulty brakes. The issue was the brake system's tiny computer that controls it. Hydraulic brakes have worked reliably since the 1920s. So why is it that proven mechanical parts are being replaced by these tiny computers? The answer is always the same: money. Big market research and consulting companies like Gartner and McKinsey have convinced automakers that software-defined vehicles are what the consumers are asking for. But when was the last time you woke up in the morning and thought to yourself, I wish my car's transmission system was controlled by a tiny computer? Probably never.
And one of the main reasons is because they don't really want people to work on it. They don't want the average person to be able to work in these cars. If it takes a specialized skill, then you have to have specialized equipment. You're either going to take it to somebody and they didn't bought the equipment from them, so they made their money, or you're going to buy the equipment yourself, which means they still made the money. It's all a money grab. It's all a money grab at the end of the day. I grew up on old schools. In fact, I'm looking for one now. What I really want, I want an old school Cadillac, like a 1967, 68 Cadillac DeVille. That's what I really, really want the photo on. In regards to my old school. So we'll see how that go. Y'all stay tuned. I may have that coming. I need me at least one old school. Now, I grew up on G-bodies, but I always wanted one of these cars, one of these old Cadillacs, and the prices are pretty reasonable, and I think you should have a old school in your artillery, even if it's an old school SUV, one of them 2000 models GMT Suburbans. You know them things. Those platforms, they ride forever. They have transmission issues, but they roll forever, and they still do.
These car manufacturers claim that tiny computers increase efficiency. What they're not telling consumers is that vehicles with these systems are drastically increasing vehicle costs, all while making the car less reliable.
This is why I hate new cars. I go to reverse. Warning, 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 shift to park because there's a pole in front of me because they parked as close to the pole as possible. Look what it does when I go to put it in reverse. It automatically parks itself. Reverse. Go off the park. It parks itself. How I can't move the car because it's parking itself because of a light pole. Because of a sensor.
Traditionally, auto manufacturers have used a modular system. Think of Mercedes. You can have two cars that look identical because the body is the same, but one is the base model with a smaller engine, while the other is an AMG with a larger engine. But with software-defined vehicles, they're taking modularity to the next level. These tiny computers allow for multiple configurations without the physical assembly lines. They're building one car with both base and premium tech features, but to actually use the features, you have to pay to unlock them. Take BMW in South Korea. They charge $18 a month for heated seats, a $300 one-time fee to access Apple CarPlay, $11 a month.
Say, hold on now. Hold on. I drive a 2008 Mercedes-Benz S550 with the AMG package. And them heated seats, they work pretty good. Them cool seats, they work pretty good. That AC, it blows snowballs. That heat, woo, and you be in there sweating. And I ain't paying no subscription for my heated seats by a cool seat. What they gonna start charging? They're gonna start charging subscription for the AC controls?
To store video from the vehicle's cameras. Audi, BMW, Volvo, Cadillac, Tesla, they all have some type of vehicle support or enhancement that's locked behind a subscription. They're enabled and disabled via these tiny computers. But many of these features are unnecessary or just a headache.
You guys, check out the window controls on my new car. This is so cool. My old car had separate buttons for each window so I could just feel it. But then I was wasting all this time looking at the road, paying attention to where I was going. Now, if I want to roll down the back window, I can stare down on my knees and fumble around with a touchscreen the size of an almond, all while I'm traveling at 70 miles an hour. The really cool part, too, is sometimes it doesn't even work. Kind of keeps things exciting. So massive shout out to Volkswagen for this huge step forward in human progress.
These tiny
What? No, man. No. Sometimes I be thinking this stuff be a joke. They built a car where you have to press the button to roll down the back.
Computers are enabling predatory practices, resulting in us continuing to pay for a vehicle we thought we already owned. They collect our data and sell it to auto insurance companies. They can remotely disable the vehicle if we just so happen to miss a payment. They receive ongoing revenue through service fees because it's inevitable.
Hold on now, let me go back, because I was just talking about that.
They collect our data and sell it to auto insurance companies. They can remotely...
Okay, look what it says. I didn't know this. I was joking. Ford wants to be able to shut down your air conditioner and rate it if you miss a car payment, and the car can even drive away on its own. This was March 2nd, 2023. Ford wants to be able to shut down your air conditioner. I was joking. I don't know what to say. Let's continue on.
They disable the vehicle if we just so happen to miss a payment. They receive ongoing revenue through service fees because it's inevitable. These tiny computers will fail, as we're already seeing in the recalls.
I just bought a car less than 24 days ago for the Labor Day sale, and it's currently been in the shop twice. And I got a call yesterday saying there is now an engine problem and a computer problem. I would advise anyone not to get it because it's been a disaster these 24 days.
Tech continuously gets marketed to us as convenience, efficiency, or in this case, safety. The tech itself may not be evil, but the way these corporations are using it to exploit us is. Stellantis, the parent company of 14 car brands, including Jeep, Chrysler, and Ram, plans to generate $22.5 billion in software services and subscriptions by 2030. The keywords here being software services. You may have never considered how your iPhone is able to receive and install updates automatically without being plugged into a physical computer. There's actually a complex technical architecture happening in the background to make this seamless. It's called over-the-air update. These tiny computers now running modern vehicles also need to be updated over the air via an internet connection. Creating this system is very complex and very costly. It also means at least one of these tiny computers needs a constant internet connection, which also makes it a cybersecurity threat. I suspect at some point we'll be charged an additional software service fee just to update our vehicles that require an update just to function properly. But it doesn't stop there. They're adding sensors, radars, cameras, telematics, and apps all under the guise of innovative assisted driving. But this cool tech is being used as a Trojan horse, a means to get the consumer excited so they don't see the exploitation and surveillance. Take Nissan. They have a data category labeled sexual activity as part of what they collect from vehicles. Other manufacturers like Kia, Nissan, Cadillac, Buick, Chevrolet, they can track genetic, physiological, behavioral, and biological characteristics. Joining Stellantis vehicles, Subaru has now introduced ads to their infotainment system, with one Reddit user claiming they almost wrecked because a Sirius XM ad was so distracting. And then there's Ford. In 2023, Ford filed for a patent named In-Vehicle Advertisement Presentation Systems and Methods. A lot of jargon that translates to Ford wanting to monitor your location, how fast you're traveling, what type of road you're on, and whether there's traffic, all to determine which ad to show you. But that's not the worst part. The system can determine driver preferences for advertisements using audio signals from within the vehicle, meaning they're listening to your conversations to show you ads. Not only that, after they show you an ad, they'll monitor.
Hey, we know they already doing that. We know they're doing that, because you could be having the conversation, then you go on Facebook or you go on the internet, and next thing you know, the very thing you were just talking about, they're showing you an ad for it. Yeah, man, I'm thinking about getting these rims or whatever. You go in there and they got these rims right there waiting for you. Like, yeah, them the ones I was looking at. Them the ones I was talking about. We got these rims for you. We got this tent shop. Thinking about tent. Got tent.
Monitor how you respond to learn your personal preferences for ads. Because everyone has a preference for which distracting ad they would like to see as they're doing 75 miles per hour on the interstate. Cars collecting data is made possible via these tiny computers and all of these cool features that they sell us on. We are literally the product. So you may be thinking, just buy an older, reliable vehicle. Well, I found this. This is a 1999 Toyota Tacoma, 26 years old, listed at a Toyota dealership for $14,000. The car manufacturers are screwing us, and now the dealerships are in on it too. They understand cars aren't built like they used to be. They're marking up anything considered reliable, forcing us toward these smart cars.
Exactly. They're manipulating the market. They're basically almost forcing people to go and get these newer cars by jacking up the prices of the older cars. We aren't the ones jacking the prices of the older cars up. They are, because they're running through auctions and stuff like that. $14,000 for a 26-year-old car simply because it's a Toyota Tacoma. Man, stop. We do have to have some accountability, but we know it's them that's doing this. It's them that's doing it. If we had our way, we would sell the car for what it's worth, make our little money, and go about our business. We ain't gonna be jacking it up 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,000 whatever or over when it ain't worth nothing but this amount of money. Now, if it's worth 2,000 more, then it's worth 2,000 more. But they'll come in and say, well, okay, it's worth 2,000 more, but we want to manipulate the market and make sure that it's worth this amount of money. So then people are priced out of it, and then they have to come over here and get the newer cars because they need vehicles. hey, we'll get you the new vehicle with $1,000 down, or that same money you were going to buy that used car with, you go and use it to go get a new car because you're like, man, I need some wheels. We got you. We got you. We got you. Yeah, they got you all right.
And there's no slowing down. Analysts estimate that by 2030, car data monetization could be an industry worth $750 billion. The next time someone tries to sell you on the latest tech feature in a new car, ask yourself who's really benefiting.
Don't get me wrong, I love BMW just as much as any other guy, but this is crazy. This is a brand new $50,000 X3. Why is this moving like that? That's not even the door handle. This is the door handle. Like, the ambient lighting is cool, but like, bro, I'm not paying $50,000 for hard plastic, and this is just the base model. Like, I understand it's the base 30i or whatever, but what? The old X3 had better materials. Am I tripping or?
So what y'all think, man? What you think? How should we handle this situation? Should we continue to play their game, or do you think that we need to educate ourselves and make better decisions, make better financial decisions? If you got to go get an older car, then go get you an older car. You can get an older car that's reliable. I ain't talking about, like classic, but a older car that is reliable. I know, hey man, I need some wheels. I need to be able to get what I need to get. You don't need that $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 truck. Go find you a older truck that's reliable. Pay that thing off faster. Stack your money. Come up with a plan. And if you decide to later on, you can get that vehicle when the prices come down. You got a little money saved up. Let's say the vehicle is after depreciation, that same vehicle that you wanted, this truck that you wanted, is now $40,000. Originally it was, let's say, 65. Now it's 40 after depreciation. You've saved up money, right? You got a paid out truck. You can sell that truck. It's a good truck. You took care of it. Now you got some money in your pocket. Let's say you sell that truck for $10,000, but you also save some money up. Let's say you sell the truck for 10. You got 10,000 saved up. That's 20,000. The truck is $40,000. Guess what you can do? You go in there, you negotiate. You'll say you negotiate it down to 35,000, okay? 35,000 out the door, OTD. You can take 10,000. You don't tell them this in the beginning, you tell them at the end, okay, you negotiate down 35,000. I'm gonna put 10,000 down. So what you just do? You reduced it from 35 to what? 25. A $40,000 truck, you are now at $25,000, and you still got $10,000 left over. You got $10,000 from the truck that you sold, that you paid off. Use that as a down payment, but you didn't tell them that. Don't tell them that at the beginning because they're gonna bust your head, let you know what you're doing. And you still got $10,000 from the money you saved up. If you want to, you can take that whole $20,000 and get the vehicle even lower, which means your payment will be lower, and you can pay that vehicle off faster. Okay, you can't save up 10,000, but you can save up 1,000. You can save up 2,000. You can save up something to go toward the overall cost of that vehicle, to reduce the cost of that vehicle. And then that's going to be your play after you negotiate and get that vehicle for as low as you can get it. It is possible, or you can just buy you a reliable car cash. But are the manufacturers screwing us big time? Absolutely. Now, I don't know about you, but as a man, I do not like to be screwed. I like to do the screwing.